Larkins, recent hire to the men's basketball coaching staff. Thanks for coming on with me, Noel.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going to start off on some recent events. We're going to jump right in. What are your thoughts on the Lakers Heat finals wrapping up? NBA bubble, you finally get it done. The Lakers get it done in 6 games. Do you have any quick thoughts on the finals? Did you watch any of it?
Yeah, I watched every game. I'm alone on this, but I've grown up to be a Laker hater, so it hurt me to watch them win that, but it was pretty cool to see the two best players in the world, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, come together and get it done.
Who is your favorite team?
I'm actually a Sacramento Kings fan.
Oof, that's a
Um,
little rough for playoff success right now, but
it's been tough for a while now, yeah. But yeah, the Heat were fun to watch. They super tough, great coach, really together, really guard the ball. So
mhm.
it was unfortunate, but happy for LeBron and AD.
All right, so let's start with you. How did you get into basketball? Did you play multiple sports growing up? What kind of keyed into your love for basketball?
I actually just played basketball growing up. My big brother kind of got me into it. Um, just watching old Kings games when I was younger, and then I just fell in love with it. Honestly, from a young age, I just love to play, love to compete. All of my friends, all of the closest people in my life, besides my family, obviously, they came from basketball. So basketball has just been a huge gift to me, and ton of blessings, and I love the sport.
Awesome. So to kind of give our viewers some background, Noel went to Valencia High School in Placentia. He was a first-team all-conference player, and then he played 1 season at IVC for head coach Jerry Hernandez, and then moved to Vanguard, where he would play from 2011 to 2014. So kind of give me the pitch. What was the draw to come from IVC to Vanguard?
Yeah, honestly, at that time, I wasn't getting a lot of attention with recruiting. I had broken my wrist. I actually went to Concordia. I redshirted there, so it wouldn't be anywhere. But I broke my wrist and went to IVC. I was 30 pounds overweight. Didn't play a lot there. And Red Soliday, funny story. He recruited me because he was trying to recruit my friend Andre Murillo, who's also on staff. So he was recruiting me to try to get him. And unfortunately for him, it didn't work out. I ended up signing with Vanguard, and Andre went to Biola. So funny how that ended up. And now obviously Andre's back with us on staff, which is really cool. But yeah, Vanguard was kind of my only option at the time. But even still, just, the love that Coach Soliday showed me and the support that he gave, just the fact that he was willing to, take some time to look at me really was enough for me. So I love the campus. I love the team. Taylor Kelly and Billy Thompson were big on my visit. So yeah, just the people and the environment were really the reason why I chose Vanguard.
Awesome. So, of course, we're going to talk about how you guys won it all, but kind of the lead up from it. In 2011, 2012, you guys go 16 and 14. You guys got Chris Raybon and Chris Capets. Your top 2 scorers graduate.
Yep.
Then in 2012, 2013, you guys go 18 and 12. You get Preston Wynn and Chris Gorman. They transfer in and they make an immediate impact. And Ennis Waitley Jr. goes from 4.8 points per game. He starts averaging 14 and 6. Boom, he graduates. And D'Angelo Jones comes in as a redshirt junior. Now we enter your season where you guys won it all. You got Wynn, Gorman, and Jones back, and you got Keith Mason and Zach Allman. They come in and average 9 and 6 and 8 and 6. So you were there for the duration of it all. So as someone that kind of witnessed the development of the team, that was like winning close to 20 games. How did you see them grow from a team that's winning 20 games to one that won the whole thing and goes 32 and 6 that year?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that are the names that you mentioned. Preston Wynn and Chris Gorman were all Americans for a reason. These guys are really good at basketball. But also just, I think the coaching staff's willingness to keep on. The way that we play defense is not normal, and it takes a lot for guys to buy into that. And I think coaches just did a great job of having us buy in. When I first got there, I don't think, that buy-in was necessarily there. But over time and, with the coaches' just persistence, I think guys just, they understood, hey, Coach Soliday knows what he's talking about, and I'm going to buy in. And, our whole team did that. They really did. They loved each other. They loved playing for each other. They loved playing for the coaches. And there were no egos on that team. We were all in it for each other, and it worked out. So
Awesome. So you guys were ranked number 9. You guys win your first ever GSAC tournament trophy. So you guys sweep both the regular season and tournament titles. And at that time, you guys are 27-6. You guys are one win away from tying the best all-time best mark for wins in a season with 28, set by the 88-89 hoop squad. And in that game, you dropped 12 points. You're perfect from the field, absolutely killing it. You guys get the title. At that time, the women's team was number 1 in the country. At the same time, you guys were making your run. What was it like to kind of have that level of dominance going on at the same time from the men's and the women's side?
I guess the best word is fun. It was a lot of fun. It really was. The whole campus was buzzing at that time. They were all excited, all behind us, and it was just a lot of fun. When I think back on those times, it wasn't necessarily the games that we were winning, but it was just the camaraderie and the togetherness and just the fun with the brothers on the court. Obviously, Russ Davis does a great job, and the girls team is always one of the top teams in the country. So to be able to be at the top with them at the same time it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So kind of walk me through this postseason run and give me like any fond memories you have of it. So you guys are the 8 seed. You guys take down number 11 Benedictine College, and Jones ends his night with a game high 25 points, and he goes to the line 18 times and hits 15 of them.
Yeah, shoot, the whole tournament was great. I'd say the hardest game of all was the first game we played against Life Pacific, just because they were so athletic, so fast. Um, but once we got that one out of the way and we got really confident, and after that it was just next team up, mentality. We were ready to go. We were never too high and never too low, I think, on that tournament, and it was just a great time, man. I'm looking forward to going back now as a coach. That'll be a lot of fun.
So one of the big time performances in the semifinal game, Preston Wynn goes for 42 points on 14 of 19 shooting. Just kind of talked what it was to play with a guy like that that's putting up 42 points in a semifinal game.
Man, one thing about Preston is you knew every game you went into, you had a chance to win it. I remember Preston in that game, he took a shot like 3 feet past half court. And I remember telling the guy next to me, because it was one of his first few buckets, I remember telling the guy that was guarding me, well, it's going to be a long night for you guys, because when that guy's hitting, there's not much you can do to stop him. So, yeah, it just gave us a ton of confidence knowing that we had a guy like Preston that was, a warrior, and he was going to go in every game and give his best, and he could put up 42 on any given night. So, yeah.
So then you guys go in a crazy close game. It's a 2-point game with under 4 minutes left. You guys pull out a big win. Coach Soliday has said before, the last game of the year is always the most special. It's just very emotional as you kind of get the culmination of work and brotherhood from that specific group that can never be replicated ever again. Kind of walk me through the emotions after the game in that moment.
After the championship game, you're saying?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was kind of weird. At first, it doesn't really hit you that, wow, we're national champs. At first, it was like, when's the next game? Like, when can we play again? Is this really over? So it was kind of honestly a roller coaster of emotions. Like, really happy and excited that your work paid off, while at the same time just wishing that there were more games to play. Because we had so much fun together playing and competing. But it was just awesome, man. That whole team was a bunch of underdogs. They really were. From the coaching staff down to the last guy on the bench, we were a bunch of underdogs who, a lot of people counted us out. And so to be able to come together and get that done was just really cool. It was a blessing, I think, from God to our whole roster. So.
Awesome. And then following your graduation from Vanguard, you kind of stepped right into coaching. So correct me if I'm wrong. You have 2014 to 2016 on the staff at Cypress College.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're assistant coach at California State Dominguez Hills.
Yep.
Then you're 2017-2018, you're coaching with Brian Boomer Roberts at Trinity International, and you helped them to a 21-11 record, an appearance in the NAIA National Tournament. So kind of walk me through that. You make your first appearance back as a coach in the national tournament, and give me some thoughts on that.
Yeah, it was cool. I actually had torn my ACL a couple of weeks before that, and I had surgery like the 3 days before we left. So it was a painful experience, but it was a lot of fun, getting back. Obviously, we didn't go as far as we would have liked to go, but it was cool to, see how excited our guys were to make the trip and go out there and compete. It was really cool.
Awesome. So then the last stop I think I have is the lead assistant at Purdue Northwest the past 2 years before you come back home, Costa Mesa, Vanguard University. So kind of talk me through, was coaching always the plan? Where did that desire come from for you to get into coaching?
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't. There's not a whole lot of money in coaching unless you're at the high major. And when I graduated, my plan was to make a lot of money and support my family. But um, Andrew Alhadeff, who was my boss at Cypress College, I played for him at IVC. He was the assistant coach, and I told him no, I don't think I'm gonna. He offered me his assistant job, and I told him no originally. But he said, well, let's just go to lunch and let's just see. We'll have lunch if nothing else. And midway through the conversation, I just felt the tugging of the Lord on my heart to say, hey, you should try this. And I did. And from the first practice, I knew this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I love it. I really do. I love the opportunity I have to be a mentor to, the guys on the team, and to still be able to compete and be around basketball every day it's a blessing. And I really do love to coach the game.
So kind of give me like your most influential coaching figures that you've played under and assisted under, kind of like built you are into who you are today.
Yeah, I got to start, with Coach Soliday. Just, Coach Soliday does it differently. And a lot of guys think, when you're a head coach, you got to be a jerk or you got to be this and that. But the way Coach Soliday does it is he shows you, one, that he's in your corner and that he loves you. Um, and he makes guys want to run through a wall for him in that way, which is just, it's not the norm, and I've just been blessed to be able to play for guys like him. Boomer Roberts, who was my assistant coach when I was at Vanguard, and last couple of years he's been my boss, obviously. But he too, just a prayer warrior and someone who really walks with the Lord. And obviously Coach Soliday does too. But I've just been blessed to have great coaches. Andrew Alhadeff, who I mentioned, who gave me my first shot. He too is just really, he's great with the X's and O's. And at every spot I've been at, I've learned different things. And I've just been really thankful for the people that have coached me and the people that have given me a chance to coach. They've been great. So no complaints.
So the mentality heading to your first game on the sideline as a coach. Are you nervous? Are you like, I got this? What's kind of the mentality going into the first game on the sidelines as a coach?
My first game ever, you're saying?
Yeah.
Funny enough, my first game ever, I was so nervous. I drank a large cup of coffee. I didn't get much sleep the night before. I just was up all night. So I wanted to be ready. So I drank a large cup of coffee, and at that time, I wasn't a big coffee drinker. Coaching's changed that, where now I am. But so I drank a large cup of coffee, and I had so much anxiety that I was the second assistant at the time, and something was going on. I jumped up and called timeout as the second assistant, which you're not supposed to do. So yeah, I guess I was definitely nervous, definitely excited. I didn't know really what to expect, but yeah, it's been a roller coaster ever since.
What was the conversation like in that timeout? You get to take the lead on that one? You call the timeout, you take the lead?
You know, I definitely didn't. I just sat back down. My head coach at the time looked back and said, "Dude, what are you doing?" I don't know. I'm sorry. He led the timeout, but yeah, we'll never forget that one. We still laugh about that. So.
So kind of how have you built your own coaching style? Do you kind of like borrow from other coaches that you've had from before? Have you decided like, hey, listen, I'm going at this my own thing? Like kind of how you kind of built your coaching style?
Yeah, kind of all that. Like I said, I've learned from the different coaches that I've worked under and played for. Um, so of course, I take from different coaches, but I think the main thing that's helped me in coaching is just making sure that I'm true to myself. As corny as that sounds, when I'm myself, um, I think I'm at my best. And a lot of what has made me has been the coaches that I've worked for, and coaches that I've played for, of course, like Coach Soliday and guys like that. But yeah, I pull definitely from things I've learned, but I try to stay true to myself at the same time, if that makes sense.
Was it a tough transition to stay true to yourself? Is that something you were always like, no, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going at it with myself.
I think honestly it depended who I worked for. And no knock on anybody that I've worked for because they've all been great. It's just some people, they'll take a lead in certain things and they'll want me to be a certain way. And I've obviously had to mold to that a little bit when I'm with them. But, I've tried to be aware just of what was expected from me. But I think in everybody that I've worked for, I've kind of had that conversation where it's like, hey, like, um, I guess, like, not asking for freedom, but I've had to make a point to be like, okay, they trust me now. Now I can really step forward and really just, yeah, be myself. So.
So walk me what it's like. You leave California, head off to the Midwest to coach. What's the kind of the conversations leading up to that? What's kind of like the Lord putting on your heart for that moment? What are the kind of thoughts leading up to packing up, leaving California, heading off to the Midwest?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I think that's what, the Lord just tugged on my heart. Said, this is what I have for you. Boomer Roberts, who we mentioned before, he was the head coach, and I absolutely loved playing for him. And we have a very strong relationship. He's like a brother to me. So when I had the opportunity to go out there and, to work with one of my best friends, it was hard to turn that down. And I learned so much from being out there. It was a great experience, and I'm thankful for it.
Was there initial nerves leaving California and heading to the Midwest?
Not really, to be honest. No, I wouldn't say nerves. I was excited though, for sure. I was definitely excited. So.
Awesome. So, your teammate Sele Han got a job in Florida recently. You came back and got a job here. What has kind of been the draw of Vanguard for people to just keep coming back and coaching and wanting to pour into these kids here at Vanguard?
Vanguard's the best. That's why it really is. It's just awesome. The people at Vanguard are special, man. And you don't realize that as much when you're a student because you haven't been that many places. But once you go to more places, you just realize how special Vanguard really is. The way that people care for everyone on campus, really, like the family environment that's at Vanguard is something that's special, and um, that's why it's one of the most attractive places in the world. It's close to the beach, which is nice. The weather is great. That's all. That's all nice. But the people are what make Vanguard special and what keep pulling people back. So.
So, how has it been stepping back into the pit and coaching up this group of guys so far?
It's been awesome, not without its challenges with the current, climate that we're in. It's been unlike any other year. But we've been trying to be patient and trying to just stay focused. Right now we're obviously not allowed to be on the court, but our guys are focused, and the coaching staff is focused, and we're continually trying to think of ways to improve. And it's been a blessing. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, so we're going to dive a bit into your social media here. So, on Twitter, you put out, if you're college hooper and your handles aren't way better than they were at the start of this thing, then I question your love for the game. So, kind of give me the breakdown between you find passionate players, you find talented players. They say hard work beats talent, and talent doesn't work hard. How important is it to find players that have that just love for the game and are just willing to just put that work in and get ahead of the maybe guys that could be more talented than them?
Yeah, I think it's so important. It's so important, in any arena that you're in, it's the guys that work, the guys that put the time in that end up being successful. Even the talented players, it just usually, if they're not willing to put the work in, it usually just doesn't end up working out. So those guys that spent the time in the gym, those are the guys you can trust. Confidence comes from preparation. I firmly believe that. And, you can have a really talented player that hasn't put that time in and hasn't prepared, and when it really comes down to it and they're going against other talented players that have prepared, they're gonna break. So it's one of the most important things we look for in recruiting. And I wasn't I was thankful, or I'm lucky enough to come to a program and come to a roster, I should say, that has a bunch of guys that love to work. Our guys really do. They love to be in the gym, they love to work, they love to put that time in. And yeah, I think it's really important.
Just give me, like, when you're working with your guys and you're prepping for a big game, what's kind of your favorite element of game preparation? Are you breaking down the film, kind of getting your stuff ready? What's kind of your favorite element of getting ready for a big game?
Yeah, for me specifically, it's a lot of film, just making sure I know exactly what to expect, what the coach is trying to, what they're trying to get done, and make sure that we don't allow them to do whatever they want to do, basically. But for our guys, it's different for each guy. I want to make sure that whoever it is, I'm able to reach them and give them confidence. And everybody's different, so I try to really get to know the guys, get to know what buttons to push, and when it comes to game time, hopefully we push those right buttons, and we can get the best out of them.
Awesome. So you guys, fingers crossed, start your season on Saturday, November 21st against Life Pacific. So kind of give me your personal goals and some team goals for what may be the strangest college season anyone that has ever seen in recent memory.
Yeah. Well, of course, we want to have a winning season. Every coach does. My main goal, though, is to, continue to mentor these guys and continue to show them, what it's like um, to be a man after hoops. We want to mature our team and continue to grow them. On the court, of course, we want to win games. That's, I'm not going to give you a number, but we want to win as many games as we possibly can. But in order for us to do that, we got to be together. We got to appreciate hard work. We got to be coachable. All those things. It's a long process. Winning is hard, so it takes a lot of work. But I think we're willing to put that work in.
Awesome. So give me your personal goals 3-5 years out. What does a day in the life look like for Noel Larkins?
Yeah. Whenever I have my goals written down for sure. But whenever someone asks me that, I usually just think of the people around me. I want, 3 to 5 years down the road, I want the people around me to know I love them even more. That's my main goal in life, to love well, be a good friend, be a good son, be a good brother. That's, my main goal. As far as, my coaching goals and aspirations, I try to just be as good as I can wherever I'm at, and God has continued to open doors. But I love being at Vanguard, and right now my plan is to be here for a long time and, to help the program improve.
Do you ever see yourself in a head coaching position down the line?
Who knows? I definitely, that's definitely something that I think about, but I'm really trying to wait for God to tug on my heart, and I want him to be the lead on that. I want to be, right now, a great assistant. And, if I feel like God is saying, okay, it's time, then, I'll continue, or I'll begin to work, towards that. But right now, I think, my job is to stay focused on where I'm at. So.
Awesome. So Taylor Kelly, like you mentioned before, was big to get you in Vanguard. He picked up a big head coaching spot at Corbin. Do you guys have any conversations like that before he took off about, the new adventure that's going to be on his way?
Oh yeah, of course. TK is one of my best friends, Coach Kelly. So we talk pretty often, probably every other day. And yeah, we had a ton of conversations about, his journey as a head coach. I'm just so excited for him. He's going to kill it. Few people love people the way that TK does. And he walks with God, and, he does it the right way, which is rare, in this coaching world. So I'm really excited for TK, and I think he's going to kill it.
So kind of walk me through. So what we talked about before, didn't even think you were going to become a coach to begin with. It took the lunch, and then it starts the journey there. How has God kind of worked with you in your heart, being like, hey, listen, I'm looking down the line. I'm looking to be an assistant here for Vanguard for a long time. From that period of time, from point B to point A, like, hey, I don't even know. Like, oh, I'll go out for lunch with you, and we'll see what this conversation goes. How does that
Right.
kind of transition from point A to point B?
Yeah. There's just been so much fruit from coaching, to be able to see, the work that you put in guys' lives, like being able to dive in and see a guy who maybe lacked confidence, or maybe had a tough home life, or, being able to just be a mentor and a big brother, and seeing fruit from that has just been really cool. From certain things the guy said to me my first year coaching, has kept me, and every year after that has just, it makes it all worth it, like really being able to dive in and being able to walk life with these guys through the hard times and the bad. And a lot of times the hard times are more memorable, like to know like, hey, yeah, we walked through that and we walked through it together. There's just so much fruit in that, and it's awesome.
Awesome. Well, the guys here are lucky to have you. Like I said, hopefully we can get started here in less than a month. For all those listening at home, this has been Noel Larkins, an awesome addition to the Vanguard men's basketball coaching staff. Like, subscribe this podcast wherever you guys are listening to that, and just thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming on, Noel.
Appreciate you. It was great.